Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today on the show, we are going to talk about the France Pavilion expansion, opening to previews, and some of us have gotten to take a peek and get to know the little chef a little better. Space 220 is opening soon, finally. And you and I are going to once again be able to have a cup of Beverly, whether we want it or not, at Club Cool and Creations Shop. We'll get to shop there very, very soon. Big, fun stuff to talk about today, and we're so glad that you've joined us here from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. This is the Diz Unplugged.
You already watched. We already had the intro. Do you remember that?
I love that. Forgive me.
I was like, what's she waiting for?
I love that. Craig, I love that. I'm not. It's my fault. It's my fault.
I just wasn't going to say anything.
You were so ramped up.
Yeah. You told me the intro, and I thought, yeah, oh, dear.
Hold on.
Welcome, friends.
We
So
can save
glad
this.
you're here.
We can save this. Rhino, do Hannah.
Do it, please.
Hey, it's me, Hannah Montana.
Oh, thank you. As long as Hannah's here.
I had
you'll
the
be
same
all right.
thing. It was a
Forgive
wig
me,
on, wig
friends.
off.
Forgive me, friends. Brain is back on. Craig is dying. Forgive me. I'm so glad you're here today. We have a lot to talk about. This is episode 1144 for September the 7th, 2021. I'm joined here at the round table by Dreams Unlimited travel agent Kathy Whirling,
Hi, everybody.
associate producer Rhino Clavin.
No, Hannah Montana.
Forgive me, Hannah. Executive producer Craig Williams.
Oh, wait.
And my name is Denny again. Pete is out and about running errands and doing things. He had something that came up that he needed to go and help with, and we miss him, but we're ready now that I've introduced the show twice. We're ready. As always, this show and all shows on the Diz are sponsored by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you want to have an adventure down here at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney, Disney Cruise Line, Dreams Unlimited Travel are the people for you. Reach out to them today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and you can request a free, no obligation quote. And here's the there's so many cool things about Dreams Unlimited Travel, but if you are a planner, like if that is your jam and you want to, move all the parts and pieces around, your Dreams Unlimited travel agent like Kathy Whirling will let you can do all of that. You don't have to stress about it. And that being said, if you'd like Kathy or any of her amazing cohorts to do the work, that's what they're here for, and they would love to do that. So dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Also, if you are enjoying the show, even though I introduced it twice, hey.
The show's so nice, you introduced it twice.
I love
That's
that.
me, Hannah Montana.
Hannah. So glad Hannah is being channeled here today at the table. But if you are enjoying the show, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Like the video, subscribe. Craig loves it when you give us a thumbs up. So please make Craig happy and do that today. And
And my daddy, Billy Ray. Stop now.
Anything else before we jump into all the fun things to talk about?
So you mentioned that Pete was busy running errands out and about. I'm just going to actually share a little bit more. He was helping Fiasco this morning, who had a follow-up appointment. And, Fiasco still is on the road to recovery, and no major updates to give on his behalf. That's one of those things I feel like privacy-wise, when he's ready to share more, he will share more. But I would just say, it continues sending thoughts and goodwill, pixie dust, prayers, whatever you want towards him, as well as Nancy out on the West Coast with us, and anyone who's been impacted by the hurricanes in the past week plus here. There's been a lot going on. So, but yeah, it's hopefully things can get back to normal soon.
Yeah, much love to everyone impacted by everything that's been going on. Our hearts are with you, and we're so glad that you are a part of this community. And thank you for giving that update on Fiasco and Nancy. We love you and Fiasco very, very much. Anything else before we jump in? Any tidbits, Hannah? Anything?
Somebody asked me to do an impersonation of my niece. I was like,
which is the cutest
yeah, I
thing.
was like, I'll see if it works in naturally at some point.
Okay.
She talks like a Muppet crossed with Bobcat Goldthwait. So it's like a I can't.
Yeah,
I'm jumping out of this treehouse. We'll see if she comes up later.
We'll make sure we fit her in. I feel like we have to mention that coming up this week on Friday, we will be having our marathon show to help us raise money for Give Kids the World as part of the Diz Family Reunion event that is happening later this week at Walt Disney World. So for everyone who is traveling in, maybe already made it here to see us, we cannot wait to hang out with you during the festivities that will be happening. We should be around for pretty much all of it. So if you came here specifically to see us and say hi, you will have plenty of time to do so. On Friday, we will be doing our marathon show, as I said, and it will be from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So for those who are at home, that's when you'll be able to see us, assuming that the internet actually works at the Contemporary like they have promised us. But you know what? Crazier things have happened. So they are supposed to give us the internet that we need to be able to make it all happen. And I have no details on what's actually going to happen on the show, who's going to be a part of it. I don't know any of those details. We will figure that out probably the day before, but it is happening. And of course, people will be able to join us in the room. It's in the auction room. So yeah, there's not going to be a lot of the booths and the presentations happening in there. It's just going to be our own separate little world. But if you want to see a little bit of the recordings, you can always stop by, and there will be limited seating. I think we're trying to get enough for everyone that we expect to be there, but we don't know how many people are actually going to be interested in watching us. Yes?
Important question.
Yes,
Come
sir.
up in the chat. Did we announce a winner for that lunch raffle yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man, I feel terrible. Jesse, yes. That's what I was thinking, but I was like, I can't. I remember now. It was because everyone was asking, is it Jesse with an E or Jesse who's sometimes in the chat with just Jessi? And that's where I was getting out with my head. She has been notified and already taken care of all those details with her. So if you didn't win, I apologize. But there's lots of other stuff that you can win. The auction is live right now in the description here on YouTube, and it should be in the show notes in general. But yeah, you can go in and start looking at all the auctions. There's some raffles happening. There's, I believe, a cruise being raffled off. I think there's a ABD Southern California Disneyland.
Yes, I was getting ready to say
Backstage Magic trip. There's a lot of stuff. A lot.
There's a lot of stuff. And if you haven't watched that episode that Craig, Stephen Amos from Give Kids the World, and Pete did on Friday, please go back and watch it, because a podcast cruise has been announced, and it's happening May of 2022, and we'd love for you guys to be a part of it. I don't believe booking is open quite yet, but definitely check that out. That's when Jesse is announced as the winner. That's when Stephen and Pete talk about a lot of the different auction items. So if you're wondering what exactly is being auctioned off right now, there is a ton of stuff that is all displayed and talked about in that show. It's a really, really informative show. And the ABD that Craig talked about, just want to highlight that real quick. That raffle went live this past Sunday. It runs all the way through Sunday the 12th. Its value is close to $11,000.
Wow.
It's the Disneyland Southern California trip, like $500 towards flights, $500 extra, and then there's also the money that's being put toward it to offset the taxes on the package. So for two. So definitely you want to check that out. Head to the description box, like Craig said, click on that link, and if you're interested, buy a raffle ticket. But we're really looking forward to having a whole lot of fun at the Contemporary at the end of the week this week, and Galaxy's Edge on Saturday night. Can't wait. Anything else? I have one other thing too. Go ahead.
The only other thing I was going to say, the auction, just saw that in there. When's it close? It closes Friday at 4.
Yes.
Oh, so in the middle of the show?
Yes.
How exciting.
Sure. Yeah.
As people are battling down to the wire on different items.
I mean, I guess, yeah. Then if things, it'll be we could start. I imagine that we're going to hear cheering and screaming start happening
yes.
randomly throughout as it starts closing down and people are winning or losing their auctions. So
The thrill of victory.
yeah. It's like when you're at Hollywood Studios and it's the 1:00 rise boarding group and you can hear the people shouting and you're like, well, guess some people got some boarding groups. Like
They're happy. That's a good thing. Jackie just texted me and she wanted, she brought up a really great point. We have a special discount code right now that is live through tomorrow at 4 a.m. So Wednesday, September 8th. So if you're watching after Wednesday, September 8th at 4 a.m., you've got to use our regular discount code for 15% off, which is Disney Info. But right now, we are running DisInfo20. That is a special discount code for Magic Candle Company. It'll get you 20% off. And that's good through September 8th at 4 a.m. Pretty excited about that. I know she's purchased some Castaway Cruise stuff, so that's exciting. So if there's nothing further, we'll proceed. We've got a lot of fun things to be able to talk about, a lot of news, so that if you are planning a trip coming up soon, you are going to want to know what's happening. And that's our mission here, is to try to inform you as best and as honestly as we possibly can. So the biggest thing that has happened in our Disney World, at least in my mind, and you guys can correct me if I am wrong or if you have a differing viewpoint, but it's the France Pavilion expansion and Epcot. It's now in previews. It doesn't open officially until October 1st. So as all things Disney World, October 1st is the big, I want to say Nexus event day. I don't know.
watching a lot of Loki.
I have. It's, yeah. But that's when the expansion officially opens. Of course, some of us have gotten to go in as annual pass holders. I know some of you watching maybe are cast members, and so you've gotten to see it as a cast member. I know DVC members as well are getting to go and preview it. So we thought we might sit and talk with you. And for those of us who haven't seen the expansion, if you've seen information online, out on social, or let us know what your expectations are of the expansion. So, who wants to go first?
Well,
I haven't seen it yet, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Rhino's going to go first since he hasn't seen it. I'm going to try to keep everything as least amount of spoilers as possible. It's also, the ride has been open in Disneyland Paris since a long time, so I know a lot of people have already had the chance to experience it, but we will keep that in mind. So if I start getting into anything that seems spoilerish, please start yelling at me and say no, don't say that.
Okay.
Overall, I'm going to just talk about the area in general. I think it is a beautiful natural extension to the rest of the France Pavilion. We've talked about over and over again on so many shows that France is up there as probably one of the best pavilions. In my opinion, it was the best pavilion before that for having awesome restaurants, the beautiful show, not so much the Beauty and the Beast sing along, but then awesome ice cream. Something about France always worked, and now just adding Ratatouille onto it and the creperie, it just kind of takes it to the next level without losing anything else. And that's a huge deal, because it's nice when we get something new without having to sacrifice something along the way to be able to get that space for it. And they really did try to mold the architecture so that when you first start entering back there, it's reminiscent of the actual France Pavilion. But then once you get past the archway and you get right in front of the attraction, then you really get enveloped in this Pixar world where it's just a little bit more cartoonish. I think I mentioned it on one show before, their crookedology, that things aren't as straight and aesthetically on point as they are in the rest of the pavilion. So that way you do know that you're bouncing into the world of Pixar and Ratatouille. So in terms of the overall area, I think it is a huge win. It is beautiful. And just standing back there's obviously not a lot besides the creperies, the bathrooms, and the attraction, but what they did with that space. It's really, really pretty.
I agree. It's lovely. I have gone on and on and on about my great love for Ratatouille and Remy, and so to get Jackie and I got to go together on Saturday and see the area for the first time and ride the attraction for the first time. And I just, I never would have imagined this would be coming to Epcot. Like, Paris is a bucket list thing for me. So, yeah, eventually, going on the ride at Disneyland Paris would be something that's on my list. So to get to actually step into that space on Saturday was nothing short of magical. Just if it was a chance to step into a movie, and I know we've kind of talked about. I think there was an episode in the last several months of Off the Rails where we talked about what if we were going to plan a park, what would we plan it like, and how much fun it would be to step into a story. What if it was set up as a storybook? This is literally a movie storybook setup for us that we get to step into. And like Craig, like you said, as you get closer to the attraction, you get to Remy's Paris a little bit more than actual Paris. I think.
Now, see, I totally missed all that.
Okay, what did you think?
I enjoyed the ride. I'm glad I saw the movie because I think that helped because I'm usually the one that has never seen a movie before she does the attraction. But if there's special touches outside, I totally missed that. But then I would say that about the ride too. There's so many things that I've heard people say that I didn't see, but I was trying to focus on what was in front of me rather than everybody gets their own, individual story. Mm-hmm. So it's something. It's nice to know that I can go back and see it how many more times and catch something new every time.
Absolutely. What did you think about the environment itself?
Well, I like just the whole area. I mean, I'm always amazed, or I guess that's what got me hooked on Disney in the first place, mm-hmm. is how they can take a spot that that there was nothing there, and they put this whole area in, and you're like you forgot there's a world out there, and there's this whole new area, and you just feel so comfortable. It's like, oh, this is really nice. And I don't care that it was at Paris, because I've had people say, oh, well, see, Disney didn't put anything into it. They just brought it over. I'm glad they brought it over. Yep. Same thing like when they did Soarin'. There's nothing wrong with having a repeat, or you're going to see it a little bit different. I'm sure. Craig, I know you said that it's like Paris, but is there any difference between here and Paris?
Nope. Sorry. Got my mic extra loud, and I'm about to start screaming, so I want to control that. No. The courtyard area is completely different.
Okay.
They have a fountain too, but it's just all set up differently. And then in Paris, as you're ending the ride, you also see the attached restaurant that is part of it that we do not have. They have the Bistro Chez Remy, mm-hmm. and it's so that is the only difference. But in terms of the ride, it is the exact same ride, and they kept the audio even the same. So it has that, as you heard in the attraction, it has the mixed blend of both English and French, which that to me was, I expected Disney to completely jettison it, and that was the happiest thing for me that they still kept that, because I think that's part of what made like Disneyland Paris such a great place to be at, was in terms of a lot of attractions and shows that I saw, they tried to mix English in with French when possible, to natural. So if you understood one language but not necessarily the other, you could still kind of piece the picture together. And with Ratatouille, if you've seen the movie, it's straightforward what's happening, but you also, and I know it sounds really strange saying this and probably foolish, but you feel like you're a little bit more cultured when you're like, oh, that's French. I don't know what that means, but I understand the general meaning of it because of what the response back was. Mm-hmm. It's something about that I really enjoyed. So I'm happy that they kept that the same, and that it is the same experience, because international parks, people won't always have the chance to get there. So when we can get a taste of those in Walt Disney World or Disneyland, I'm happy about that. It's a little bit different when they just clone stuff from both of the domestic parks, though. I'd like to see less of that, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But Kathy, what you were saying as far as feeling like you were in Paris, I know that Kevin has said that there are times in which he is in the Germany pavilion, and if you're standing in the right spot, you forget you're in Epcot, like you're not in because all of a sudden you're so ensconced in the fact that like the environment is encompassing. Same I felt here in the France Pavilion expansion. And yes, it's just an expansion. It's not a whole new land or anything like that. But just to have this new expansion was so much fun to step into. I didn't want to leave.
No, I feel the same way. And it's like, this whole big thing now with the annual passes and people there, like, Disney's getting away from it. So when I went to ride, and they're like, how do I feel when I'm riding it? And it's like, you do forget that there's an outside world. And it's like, okay, so Disney still brings it, maybe there's this other stuff going on, but it's like, for me, the magic is still there that, I got to forget about life for a while I went through there. And, somebody had said to me, I guess I should not read things before I go on the attractions, but I tried. I'm like a big spoiler person. I like spoilers, but people were saying that if you have a problem with motion, that is not a good ride. I don't know if our car wasn't bringing it or whatever. There was hardly any. I mean, when it did spin, I didn't think it was bad at all.
And there, I felt that I got to ride it twice, and so the first time it spun more, and the second time it didn't. And Craig, you mentioned that on your video that you did, or in a comment. It might have been in a comment.
Yes. Because not again, this is not spoilers, but there's 2 loading areas, and each one has 3 rats, and you have to board one of the 3 rats, and then they kind of, as they're leaving the station, they dance off. And when they do that and they get in their order, you can predict what the moves they'll do. Like, I think if you are second in line when you're leaving the station, that one will have an extra spin as you're like leaving around there, and I'll have extra spinning and maybe in like one more scene. But yeah, based on what order you get in, that's it. The ride then is a little bit different. But I don't think the spinning overall, there is one full spin that's not like too overly bad. For me, it's that it's a 4D attraction that I feel like would probably be better if it wasn't 4D and if it was just flat 2D. It's the 3D looks and 4D looks good, but I don't know. To me, there was one time that I was riding it, and when I was on the far sides of the screens and not in like looking directly in the middle, I could see that warp where the 3D was off, and as soon as that happens, I start to get a little bit queasy, and I don't really get sick on much. So when I start to notice it, that's where I get worried that, and I would just shy on the side of saying, if you get motion sickness on 3D attractions or anything that spins a little bit, maybe take the Dramamine at the very least, or be cautious. If you have a family member that can handle it more, maybe send them in as the test. I know that's hard for this, considering you'll either have to buy your way into it or get a virtual queue. But I would hate to tell someone you won't have a problem with it and then find out that it made them ultra ill. That's not what I want to do.
Definitely. And for me, I am someone who always will favor practical effects over anything that is, a screen projection, whatever, CGI, whatever. So for me, it's the practical effects that they use on this attraction that just kind of took my breath away. So And I kind of found myself wishing it was just all that. Just give me more of that. I want more practical effects because they're just so good. But here's one cool thing. Well, there's so many cool things. Like I said, I didn't want to leave the expansion the other night, and when I did, I was misty-eyed when I finally left because I just loved being in the area so much. And when Jackie and I were there, we had even if you're going for previews, so if you have your annual pass holder preview coming up or your DVC preview, you, depending on how you time it, I know Craig and Kylie had some really good timing the other day when they were there, but if you're there on your scheduled preview appointment, know that you can have a line. There can be a bit of a line to wait and ride the attraction. It is under this most of it is under a gorgeous structure that they have built so that it is at least shaded. It's not too horribly bad. So you should be okay there, but just know if you're going for your preview. Also know that if you have a later in the afternoon preview time and you walk in the creperie, I don't know, Craig is the one who is the professional on that. He doesn't want to do it, the creperie. So if you want to get a crepe, and that those windows are open at the time or the table service is serving, go ahead and get that, because Jackie and I thought, we'll do that after we ride the attraction. We got off the attraction and it had closed.
Oh.
And so no crepes for us, and we were a little bummed about that.
There was a long line when we went.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'll just catch it next time.
Yeah.
And so the crepes, I don't know why I rolled that part a little bit. I just always, it's one of those things where I hate not being more fluent in other languages, because then I always just feel self-conscious about everything that I'm saying with it. As I said in the little review that I posted, Disney comped my meal at the table service one, and I felt overall like the dessert one that I had there would have been worth the $8.95 or whatever that it was, but the galette was probably I would feel like that was overpriced. Kylie and I did get the quick service stand when we were there for the DVC member preview, and with that, Disney did not pay for that one, so I didn't do a review or anything just because we were not in the mood to necessarily do that. But I will say that while we enjoyed it and thought that it was delicious, flavorful, we got the brie cheese one and we got the red berries one, and so we had one sweet, one savory. It still felt overpriced for what it was. I mean, these are very thin crepes. It's not packed in. We split two of them, like I said, and if we hadn't just eaten fish and chips before we got there, we would have both been starving still from that. And to me, I don't like a lot that. To me, that's where it borders on a snack, not necessarily a meal. And I think I would have been happier if it was one of those on the lines of, oh, this is the perfect thing because it could be a snack, but it can also fill you up as a meal. I don't know how much of I don't know anyone who would feel fully satisfied from eating that small, thin, pancake-like meal. But maybe someone out there. Maybe.
So anyhow, Rhino, do you have any comments? I know you haven't stepped foot in the land yet, or in the area. Do you have any thoughts? Are you a Ratatouille fan?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, that's right.
I will have seen it by my event on Saturday. My preview on Saturday. It's for me and only me.
Only
they
you.
are holding an event. Yeah.
Huzzah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, I'll try any food. Come on, I'm a human dumpster.
No, you're
Not dumpster. That's not the right word. I meant
you are not.
I meant a garbage disposal. But I'm also a dumpster. It's fine.
Before we got started talking about this, Rhino was talking about his expectations were low for the attraction, and I will say I think a lot of people should manage their expectations for it. I've said this on other things. I think my vlog too. It is a trackless dark ride. Very reminiscent now of two other attractions that we've gotten in the past couple years at Walt Disney World. And to me, it's, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is obviously, most of it is flat and then like basically projection mapping technology. So you could argue, yeah, that's screen based. This does have physical sets, but it is also, there are a lot of screens, and there are moments where you're looking at screens with nothing else around you, but it stands out to me as bad show a little bit in a couple circumstances. The ride is cute, it's fun, it's very family friendly, and that's what's most important, is that Disney needs more rides like that. But this is not the new Rise of the Resistance at all. It's utilizing amazing technology. I love the trackless dark ride technology so much. I think it is so fun, and it allows for different unique experiences with it. But this one to me is like, it's kind of the least impressive of the ones that I've done with Disney. And it's not that high level e-ticket attraction. This is like a solid C or a D in that grade scale. But because it's new, people are going to treat it, and because you're having virtual line and paid options to get on, and people are going to treat it like it is the next greatest thing. And I'm worried there will be a lot of people who are disappointed by it, especially the ones who criticize Universal for overly relying on screens.
I do think it's worth going on, though. I think it's
Agreed.
valuable.
Yeah.
I just think you have to remember the rides existed for a little while before we got it. So it's like, remember that. Like when we got Rise of the Resistance and we got Mickey's, they were both brand new. They didn't exist anywhere else. And so since this is like a cloned attraction, this essentially is like, you have to remember this technology will be, right behind those other two that we already have. I think that's the way to think about it, maybe.
Exactly right.
I loved it in Paris, and I love it here, but I was shocked when I started seeing other people's thoughts on it, that there is a lot of very vocal people out there who do not enjoy it. And I understand what their issues are with it, especially when the issues do fall into the screens. So I get it, but I think I would rather try to manage everyone's expectations, and that way you're left saying that was cute, that was enjoyable, rather than set you up to think that it's the next Rise of the Resistance. And then you're like, well, no, that wasn't. But
it's not. But your point about that it's something for the entire family is spot on. And that's in my little article that I put up on Saturday evening. That's kind of what I boiled down to, is the fact that everybody in the family can ride this attraction, even those, if those who don't like Star Wars or whatever, and for some reason they're not going to go on Rise. Well, this is something that's accessible, I really feel like. So excellent. Well, we have talked and talked and talked about that. If you want more talking about that, please check out Craig's videos that he has done from the expansion on the Diz's YouTube channel. There's a ton there, and it's all very, very good. Like I said, I've got an article up on the Diz if you want to read that as well. So next thought on my mind, and then I want to hear what's on y'all's minds. Next thought on my mind is the fact that that Space 220 is opening on the 20th of September, and now we have opening dates for Club Cool and Creations Shop, the shop that I'm sure everyone is excited about getting into. I'm sure it's lovely, but it's not top of my list, but I will go and I will check it all out. September 15th, so next Wednesday is when that is opening. What are y'all thinking about that? Are you excited about this?
Club Cool?
Club Cool, Creation Shop, Space 220. I'm just glad we've finally got an reopening date or an opening date for.
Well, when they announced when you can make reservations for Space 220, the world is going to stop.
Yes.
At least in the Disney World it is, because everybody wants a reservation there. And I can't wait to go, but then I've been into space. But you would think
I like how you just said that. Like,
been
please tell me
into
about when you were launched into space one time. It made it sound like you had. She's like, my friend Jeffrey Bezos.
Well,
me.
I watched this show yesterday where the Inspiration 4 astronauts are going up, and they're all civilians.
Yeah.
And they're going up into space, and it's like, would I want to go up into space?
Would you?
I don't
wanna
think
know,
so.
Kathy.
I don't think
Really?
so. So for me to go to Space 220 would probably
That's
be
the
the
closest we'll get you.
I would get.
Yeah.
But everybody, all my clients, everybody wants a reservation there.
I
And
don't get it.
No. Okay, Craig. Do tell.
I'm sorry to interrupt you with that, Kathy. I don't understand because I do, I see like emails that come into us constantly asking, can you guys give us the menu for Space 220? Like, well,
Yep.
no, they have to actually release it. And then we can give that information to you. I don't understand. Like, I love the fact that it is themed with space because I am also a big space nut like you, Kathy. I love a good astronaut movie or television show.
I've seen your Lego collections.
Yes, I've got. If I'm at my house and you're watching in the shop behind me, I have my Saturn V rocket that always sits right behind me. I love everything about it, but to me, this is just another third-party restaurant that's just serving food inside a themed environment in the park, and it's going to most definitely be overpriced. I don't think it's going to match up. And maybe they even say, oh, well, we see what the expectations are. We can charge a lot more because people really want to come in here. And I just don't get it. It's like, is it that we just don't get enough new restaurants that it's another hype thing that like, oh, we're getting in just the span of weeks, we're getting 3 new restaurants at Epcot without losing a single restaurant in the mix. So I don't know. I don't
think-
get it though.
I think it's, for now, it's a gimmick for like you're going to outer space.
Yeah.
The menu's going to have to sell it, because if you go and it looks like you're, you watch the people floating by and stuff like that, but the food's not any good. That's
I have a couple of concerns.
Okay.
One, I am worried that the screens of space are going to make me sick while I'm eating. Like, going to give me motion sickness because I
Okay.
suffer from that. So, but I love a good space theme to anything as well. So I look forward to it in that aspect. So I am just really hoping that that's not true. I think, assuming that you're relatively in a station that's not moving, like if it's not trying to simulate the restaurant moving, then I think I'll be all right. But I also feel like the space elevator is a cool idea and that sort of stuff, and like the hallways look amazing and all the actual built features look good, and then you get in the restaurant, and then it pans over in the restaurant, and I think to myself, who the heck would put carpet in outer space? Second of all, who decided that they would throw up these IKEA chairs and tables into outer space too? Like, that's my problem, is they spent so much money on the structure of the building, and the structures look great. Like the walls, the theme, it all looks very not futuristic, but space age like and stuff.
Sure.
And then you sit at like what looks like the old electric umbrella chairs and table, and I was like, why did the budget? I've almost said too many bad words by accident, just casually, not like angrily. But where did the budget fall out here? Was it on the set? Like, why didn't somebody design why aren't they those cool chairs that kind of have that swivel in the back, or they're just one unit, one solid thing, instead of just being they look like a chair I could find anywhere and a table I could find anywhere. So it really when that Imagineer guy Zach Ridley, when he posted that video where it pans and goes into the restaurant, you could literally hear me go. I was like, oh. And this right away, I understand why there's probably carpet, practically, because people are it absorbs the sound. And if we're supposed to be in a space station, everybody's shouting would make the restaurant really loud. But, girl, please.
But see, I think that's what's going to happen when it opens. You're going to get the people who are going because it's space themed, and they're going to go, no, not really. Or they'll love it. And then you get the people that go, but I don't really care for the menu. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of hype around this, but is it going to live up to it?
Right. Yeah.
I don't see how it can't. It would have to be spectacular food. And I typically do agree with Pete. It's a patina run restaurant, and I don't always love
Who else
their-
is, what could you clarify, what other, do you off the top of your head know what other restaurants they run at property? I don't know, so that's why I'm
Paradiso, don't they? Is it-
Yes.
Paradiso?
They are also connected with what's the one that he hates that he just did the review on?
Oh, Maria and Enzo's.
Maria and Enzo's. I believe they
Enzo and
also have Terralina in it as well too. I just never cared for it. Like I like
Yeah.
the Landry's restaurants better. I would rather eat at Rainforest Cafe and Yak and Yeti.
I love Yak and Yeti.
But I know it's just people have different tastes, so I also get that too. I feel like everyone has built this restaurant up so much without even seeing a menu that how can it ever live up to expectations?
I guess that's the other part too. Is like, what food did we take in outer space? I'm assuming. Wasn't the whole thing? It's supposed to be kind of like it'd be the same way how all the land grows its own food. It's all supposed to be food that we grew in pods. And I'm like, there better be freeze-dried ice cream up there somewhere.
Well, and that's what I've said. Like, we need astronaut ice cream in the worst way.
Don't you dare
like,
do that to me.
For crying out loud, don't open this restaurant without it. So it's got to be there. If we can have it at the Air and Space, the National Air and Space Museum in D.C., we can have it here at Space 220. Here's the thing that I'm wondering, and it kind of goes along with what you guys are thinking. So many of the meals that we eat on Walt Disney World property, we are paying for the location, right? The highly stylized, heavily themed environment, like that I think I'd pay for once. I'd pay to go and head up in the elevator and have that virtual experience, and then step into that. I kind of feel like it's a big gray circle. A big gray kettle, but I would pay to get to eat there one time and just give it a whirl and see how it is. And I would hope. See, I recently ate at Cinderella's Royal Table for the first time. So when they
How was it?
It was wonderful.
I'm jealous.
It was wonderful. So when the morning that they reopened for breakfast, my hubby made reservations, and so the two of us for the first time got to step inside the castle and have a meal. And I had heard ramping up into that experience, you're paying for location, like the food's not that great, the experience isn't so great, all those things. And I was so surprised in such a great way how much I enjoyed the experience. It's amazing to step inside that castle, and amazing just the way, the environment, the banners all hanging from the ceilings, the fact that you can look out over Fantasyland, the fact that you are just sitting at a table in the middle of Cinderella Castle, like what in the world? And the food was really good, and the service was really good. And so I'm hoping that this surprises me in the way that Cinderella's Royal Table did. I hope that we get up there and it's everything that we want it to be and more.
So I decided, instead of just trying to go off the top of my head, look up the actual list. So Patina at Walt Disney World, we have Pizza Ponte, Morimoto Asia, the Edison, Enzo's Hideaway, Maria and Enzo's, Tutto Italia, Via Napoli, and Tutto Gusto, connected along with Tutto Italia. So I was wrong about Terralina with that. But so going off of it, though, I like drinks at Enzo's Hideaway. I don't like the food there. I don't like Maria and Enzo's. I like Pizza Ponte. I just did a very positive review about that recently. Love Morimoto Asia. And then the Italian pavilion foods, I'm not huge on them. Like, it's not the worst food you can get in Epcot, but I've never understood why people raved about it. So yeah, I hope, but I love Morimoto. So
I like Hideaway.
Yeah.
So
different. I'm going to say it. Rhino hates us. Different strokes for different folks.
But like with the familiar, with the restaurants that people really like, I've been doing this long enough that, like Cinderella's Royal Table used to be the hot dining reservation that they had fairy godmothers that would go make reservations that you could get it. And then Le Cellier was really hot there for a while. And when's the last time you heard anybody like mention that? And even Cinderella's Royal Table, it's like it's there, but it doesn't have, I don't know if the popularity went underground or, and I think that's sort of what's going to happen with Space 220. You're either going to go and you're going to go, oh, it's really wonderful. And then people are going to go, okay, one and done. There's someplace else I can go.
Yep. It'll be really interesting. And if you're watching this later in the week, please let us know in the comments section if you can't wait for Space 220, if this is something, if this is a reservation that Kathy can help you make. She'd be glad to. But let us know, are you looking forward to it? I'm sure at some point the team will be there and reviewing it and telling you what the overall opinion is of it. And I hope it just surprises all of us and knocks our socks off. I hope it's just fantastic. As far as Club Cool is concerned and the opening of Creation Shop, I am looking forward to the fact that we get to step beyond the construction walls, that we get to step beyond Spaceship Earth now, and see what that reimagined Communicore Interventions area is going to look like. Dreamer's Point was the thing I was most excited about. So give me a statue of Walt, and I'm going to be a happy girl. So I'm hoping that I'm hopeful that we'll get to step towards those stores, those locations, and kind of get a little bit more of a feel. And what I'm hoping. And I was thinking about this walking out of Epcot on Saturday night. I'm hoping we get some glowing sidewalks.
Yes, yes.
by Club Cool and Creation Shop. We need those back.
I just hope they're both redone enough. I mean, obviously Creation's brand new, but filling in for Mouse Gears, that was a store that smelled and could get pretty hectic. And obviously Club Cool was a nightmare going into when it was busy. I hope that both are just thinking actually about guest flow and making it an enjoyable experience. Like Club Cool, I basically cut out soda. So that's not a big thing for me anymore. It used to be back when I travel here. I love trying all the different sodas and Mezzo Mix and even Beverly. But since I basically got rid of it, I didn't go in there much towards the end because it's like it's just calories I don't need. But
yeah,
I wish I still liked it. I wish.
Will you go back once it's reopened?
Oh,
we need a video of you trying everything, including Beverly.
No, I will.
Okay,
I
good.
will. But it's if Club Cool would have just been permanently gone for me because of what I drink, I wouldn't have been upset about it. But I'm happy, so happy for everyone who loves Club Cool that you're getting it back. I hope it's everything you want and more.
You always have to take the newbies into Club Cool and get them Beverly.
Right.
And stand there with a straight face and go, "Oh, here, try this."
It's a rite of passage.
It is.
We're in a phase right now where so much of our conversation is dominated by the fact that Disney is taking away things. And just kind of this bit of this grieving time that we're all having as Walt Disney World fans, because we are just being reminded so blatantly about the fact that it's a company. To me, the fact that we're getting Club Cool back, when it's not something we thought, I didn't think we were getting Club Cool back, like the building is gone. The fact that we're getting it back is a nice little wink and nod. Does it make up for all the other things? No, it does not. Heartily, no. But it is a nice little tip of the hat because we Epcot fans, that's like you said, you got to bring the newbies in and try all the drinks. Like I've stood at those machines before and shared a moment with my kids and with my niece and nephew trying all the drinks. Sparberry is the best in my humble opinion, but it'll be nice to be able to have those moments again. And they had the lights on in Creations Shop on Saturday, and so it was neat to kind of stand there. Of course, the construction walls are still up, so you can see kind of the top part. You can see the lighting. You can see the teak wood ceiling that was highlighted in the press release. So it is interesting to kind of look. It was neat to look in there. It is very devoid of all character, is what it felt like to me. Because Mouse Gear was so over-the-top character, and it had the big hand, and it had the gears that were moving, and it had the fun little song, and it was so heavily, highly themed. Creations Shop is just a shop. And it looks nice and streamlined, and some people that'll speak to their aesthetics. Like, they'll like the clean, streamlined look, but it is not It's not what we're used to being in that space.
Yeah, but then there's all these people out there saying, "I don't want all this IP. Stop adding all this
That's
IP
true.
in here."
That's
so
true.
it's
This is your store, babe.
We cannot please everyone
That's right.
at Walt Disney World, but hopefully you find something that pleases you while you are there.
Very good. Thank you, Craig.
Also, it never dawned on me that Flight of Passage was a take on Rite of Passage.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
What does that mean?
Wow. This is Deep Thoughts with Craig Williams.
Like a rite of pass. Denny used the phrase rite of
Rite of
passage.
passage.
It never dawned on me that Flight of Passage was named of it for like, oh, it's your rite of passage
I
to
thought it was
fly.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I guess I never consciously thought about it because I just thought it was a flight through the passageway. Like you were passing.
A literal flight of passage.
I mean, it's literally like what you're doing. You're passing through all
You
those
are.
places. So I was like, you're
Passing
passaging
I think
the
it-
ocean.
I think it's a rite of passage, but in this case, it's a flight of passage.
It is a flight of passage.
It does. It seems like you might not be alone. Other people seem to be having a similar reaction.
Oh dear, deep thoughts. Here we go. Oh yeah. So the last thing we wanted to, I just thought of bringing up today is the fact that the Magic Kingdom has gotten some new bling, and for the 50th anniversary, we have the clock back, and it is so pretty and shiny and lovely. And Citizen is the official timepiece of the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary celebration. So say the banners that hang from the clock. Had no idea we needed that, but we have that.
We're returning to the ways of the old, where every attraction sponsored by somebody.
Yep.
Yeah. This brick was brought to you by TD Bank North.
Exactly. So on your next adventure in the Magic Kingdom, stop and look at all the shiny things. There are many shiny things going on right now, and it's a lot of fun. It's really pretty, and now that the castle's complete, that's lovely. What are you guys really enjoying these days, Disney-wise? Is there anything that you are finding a lot of joy in? No joy.
No,
Joyless.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I'm so hot all the time.
I'm sorry.
But I will. I don't know. I mean, things. I like Star Wars. I like Marvel. I like those things. Like
I'm just gonna say it
Do
here. I'm moving off of Disney for
Do it.
a brief moment. It is, last
season.
week's show was Pete, passionately speaking about Walt Disney World in the current state with annual pass holders and Genie Plus and everything that was brought up with that. And towards the end of it, he started musing more and more on Universal and the experience at Universal. And so it was a big week in Orlando. And on our Universal show this week over at youtube.com/UOFan or Diz Unplugged Universal Edition, where you listen to podcasts, we're going on Friday. We're going to have our breakdown of Halloween Horror Nights. But I cannot say how refreshing it was to get back into Halloween Horror Nights. Having Disney After Hours Boo Bash at Magic Kingdom, it did not feel like it was a proper replacement for the Halloween party that we knew and loved. So that kind of like put a damper on the Halloween spirit back in August. And as ridiculous as that is to say, but seeing things in full gear over at Universal with Halloween Horror Nights was and is it's a breath of fresh air. And I know we are still in a pandemic and safety precautions still need to be followed. Especially if you think you're sick or at risk of being sick, pay attention to it all even more. But Halloween is alive and well at Universal. I'll just say that. And if you have the chance to go over, if you're coming to Walt Disney World and you can pop over, even if you think you're afraid of something like Halloween Horror Nights, I still recommend giving it a shot. It's, it can be scary at moments, but it's a lot of fun. And yeah.
So the guys with the chainsaws, can they get right up in your face like they used to?
I don't think they were really. I mean, I heard the chainsaws.
Okay.
I mean, I always hear the chainsaws. It's like the lambs are always screaming. I don't know that I saw hordes of the chainsaw, but it was also raining, I think, when we were going through that area, so it might not have been there. But I definitely heard them when I went there the next night. But, I mean, yeah, but not really. Nobody can touch you. It's not like you. I don't know.
Yeah, no one can touch you at it. But I will say that was one of the things that there was a lot of debate in leading up to the event about them adding vinyl blockers for inside the houses.
That doesn't make it less scary for me.
It didn't. Yeah, to
Okay.
me overall, it didn't have an impact on it. And then when you're in the streets and the scare zones, there's still people who are moving about, and they're getting close to you at points, but it's not. It's. The characters are wearing masks too when they're in positions where a lot of them are wearing masks. So it's it's a greater conversation about masks and everything that I don't necessarily want to get into. I doubt we'll get into it when we talk about it on the Universal show either, but I think a lot of hype has been built up for the event because it's the 30th anniversary year for it. But I think it's something, too. If you've ever been on the fence thinking about it, this is the year to, I would say, finally give in and give it a shot. If Halloween means something to you, because you're not getting that Halloween spirit at Disney.
Oh, okay.
I just want to really
fair.
quick, because I know we'll talk about it on the Universal show, but I think it's important to say it on the show. What did you think of the crowds when we went?
I cannot speak to that because when the
You
only
didn't go
night
back
I didn't
since
go
Friday?
back on Saturday. No, my leg hurt too bad that I couldn't go back to it again.
I thought they were, honestly, I thought they were fairly manageable. I know that we were separated on Friday, but I thought the Saturday night crowd, that's what I was worried about. I think, again, you, just like any Disney event, any Disney park, you just find the space, you find your spaces where you have to take a step out or step aside or whatever. I think it's just a general vibe. I know that was brought up in the chat here and mentioned by people who weren't actually at the event, so I just wanted to bring that up. But I think it is no more crowded than what I have ever seen in the past, and no more crowded than what I have seen at Disney every single day for the last however many weeks and months. So I don't want to be like, oh, Universal's packing them in way tighter than Disney or anything like that. I think they're very similarly packed right now.
Well, I mean, that goes with anything. When a lot of the crowds at the theme parks, if you haven't been going for months and months since they reopened and stuff, people in general don't want to space themselves out for other people and clump together. And it is one of the most frustrating things in the world when you are a person who enjoys space. But I think it's most people's just natural instinct to want to clump together. So when that happens, then that's when you see someone pull out the camera and say, oh, look at this big group. So that's moments you capture in time. And 5 minutes later, it can be completely different from what it is before. So always take that into context.
A picture at the main entrance at Rope Drop for any event, whether it's for an evening event, whether it's for the opening day of the park or anything like that, is always going to look crowded when you're looking at it that way. I had Eli do the same thing. Showed me the photo, that stupid photo somebody took through the archway of the crowd waiting in line. And I'm like, yeah, you know why that's crowded? Because there's this much space between each one of those ticket booths. So everybody is going right up the middle. And having been to Universal Studios a million times in my life, I know exactly why it looks crowded. It always looks crowded on that slant when you're going down. It's the same for traffic on a highway. When you come over the hill at night and you see all the red lights, you think, oh my God, it's going to be really crowded. But the traffic's still going.
It's the same for people getting on and off the ferry boats or getting off the monorail. It's people, it just, when things get into a point where there has to be a merge, everyone clumps together.
It's like a funnel.
Yes, a funnel. Wow.
It's a funnel.
funnel.
Oh. Hey, I was going to ask you, okay, so you made the Boo Bash comparisons with HHN. So price-wise, ticket-wise, what are we looking at with HHN?
Well, I mean, my frequent Fear Pass that I get to go all but Saturday nights for the event. I had the chance to go on the first and the last Saturday night with it. That after tax was $205.
Oh gosh. Okay.
For however 35 nights of
something
admission,
like that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So.
It's I think it's one of the best valued tickets for any event. Yeah. It has been for years. I really honestly do think.
Granted, if you buy a single night ticket, you want to see everything and do everything on a single night. you might have to consider express, and then you're adding an extra $100 onto a ticket that might only cost $70. So you're looking at $170 for it, but that will guarantee that you get to do everything you want to do. But that's what you have to, the choices you have to make. Rhino and I have gone with people that were like, we go in with the mindset of, okay, you do want to do everything, right? And then it's like, yeah, we'll do like house or two, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So it's also, it's, if you don't want to do everything, but you just want a taste of it, it's a cheaper price to get the experience out of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Love that. Anything else? Anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
Just that we have a Patreon after show.
We
I didn't know if you were
do.
segueing into a closing.
I was getting ready to, and
Oh,
I've got
okay,
Patreon
yeah.
right here.
Oh,
to remind
perfect.
myself
Okay. Well,
of
there you
this.
go. I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No, it's good. You're the Patreon head honcho, so you can say whatever you want to say. Definitely, if you are one of our Patreon supporters, absolutely stay tuned, because we will be back with the Patreon after show. Things are just nice and fun and loosey-goosey at that time. If you would like to subscribe to be a Patreon member, head to patreon.com/disunplugged and follow the prompts there to do so. We are very thankful for everyone who's tuned in today, Patreon or not. And I'm so thankful for Kathy and for Rhino and for Craig and for all of you who have tuned in. We're really appreciative. Again, we are sponsored by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Head to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com to seek the assistance of the amazing travel agent experts who are there to help you. That's their whole gig, is they're just here to help you. So definitely check them out today. And also, again, consider liking and subscribing. We would love that as well. We hope you guys have a great week. We hope we have helped you in some small way plan your next Walt Disney World vacation, or just connect with your Disney fandom. We know it's hard when you are far away. We totally get that. And so that's why we get to do this. Take care, guys, and have a good one. Bye.